Is the state, because I mean, we talk about our borders, and then we know how tough it is for us to check our borders here. But how is the state managing the airports, the land borders, any scans or anything?
Oh yes. We had to go and get all those things from abroad. As I speak to you now, I knew that by Friday they had all come in, and they are going to be circulated into all our borders, all the hospitals. Of course, we want to take them to the motor parks. We work with the Commissioner on Transport and all that, especially those temperature reading, devices, and of course in the airports, Warri, Asaba, everywhere. We're going to have all that. And the whole idea is that we want to make sure that our state remains free from this terrible
Do we
threat.
have isolation centers?
Yes, all that is also being built up. We already have 2 now, I think, in Eku and in Ogeah, the teaching hospital in Ogeah.
Okay, so the awareness is an ongoing thing.
Yes, it's an ongoing thing, and we'll continue to take it a notch higher and higher and higher till we get to a level where everybody in Delta State is aware of this. Already I can see the improvement in the standards of hygiene of the basic people. You see people washing their hands, people at, those normal hygienic things we've been talking about. All that rubbish of people going open excreta and all that, all those kind of things have stopped in the state generally.
So is there any numbers that people could call? Because I mean, if at the time that this happened, they had called some of those
numbers, we could easily have, exactly. And that's the whole idea. We've been putting out these numbers. We have these numbers. I'm sure they'll scroll them soon and they can see them. There's one that is just for the SMS where you can, and it will be replied immediately. And there are the other ones that are, GSM numbers, and they'll be responded to immediately. The numbers are all there.
Okay, so all these centers are properly, I mean, they have people there 24 hours?
Definitely. For the call centers, yes. 24/7, they are always there. Yes, those are the numbers on the screen now. Yes.
So if you're saying that if I text the SMS one, for instance, I get a reply? You
get a reply, definitely.
What is it like? Because what we understand is if someone has a fever,
yes.
In a hospital, there's an isolation center. In any hospital, just have like an isolation room,
yes,
where you conduct maybe test or whatever, and then you alert the Ebola center. How does it work in Delta State?
Well, it's the same thing. A case comes in, we observe all the protocols, because I think that's the most important thing, to make sure the caregivers are protected. Of course, they will wear all their protective gear. They will do the normal procedure of the test that has to be run. Of course, there must be that 36 hours waiting time for the results of the check to come in. And in between that time, whatever issues you have, you can use any of the numbers, and you'll be given a prompt response, like I said to you. Okay. Definitely. And the whole idea is that we want to make sure that our citizens are not unnecessarily panicked, and that we are all at all times making sure that the information is out there for people to understand what is going on.
So what about the health practitioners? They have these regular meetings with, I think, the Commissioner for Health to have this normal brainstorming sessions, what to do, how to go about all of this?
Definitely. I think we have an epidemiologist also in that health team. There's a crack health team that have been working around the clock, and they come up with all the different the coping strategies of the operations of how they're doing about it. Me, I'm not a doctor, so I don't have those internal details, but I know the Commissioner of Health, the special advisor on health monitoring, and they have a major crack team that's working with it. We've even gone a step further by making sure the environment people are also prepared, in case, God forbid, anything breaks out. The protocols of also handling a corpse, everything is all out there as well. Yeah.
Okay, so that means that the October 1st program, they'll have to go ahead with all of this. So all these checks are in place.
Yes, because they did their own checks from America, and if they had heard anything to the contrary, I can assure you they will have cancelled the show.
We've got this question for you. David says to ask you, how do we protect ourselves, markets, churches, schools, because he says this Ebola is spreading like wildfire?
Well, David, these are the things we are saying over and over again, and we've been putting out this information. You just have to be health and hygiene conscious. Simple things like washing your hands all the time when you've done anything, I can assure you, will make the difference. Ebola is not in the air, Of course, the markets, that's another flashpoint. And we're beginning to see a change in there as well. You know, the way we dispose our garbage, our rubbish, our refuse, all those things have to be managed properly. And of course, we've said it now and again, we are very warm people in Africa. In Nigerians, we hug, we shake and all that, you know, but this might be a time where we can minimize those kind of contacts. You know, it's just about being aware and being conscious of these things, and I'm sure we'll be fine.
You know, I just wonder, all of this equipment that has been put in place in the state, I mean, not just in the health sector, other areas too.
Yes.
You know, we'll talk about succession, we ask different governors what happens thereafter. But in Delta, I mean, we get to even see so many messages circulating about those who will vie for those positions, or who the governor has, if there's any such thing as anointed someone. What's going on about that?
We certainly have left Ebola.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, Delta is a unique state. I'm happy to comment on that. Delta is a unique state. We have first-class people all over the state. We have a situation, yes, where we have 3 senatorial zones since the advent of this political dispensation. My boss is about to finish a tenure of a zone. Another zone had also done its own tenure. Now the 3rd zone believes that, you know, under some kind of fairness and arrangement, it's all a gentleman kind of agreement, so everybody can feel a part, so nobody can feel like I'm a second-class citizen in the state. And they say, yes, it should be our time. And I think with the right politics, engaging the other senatorial zones, because get something straight, no zone ever did it alone or insisting they needed, you know, the cooperation of the other zones. And I think that is what's going on. I happen to come from that zone, which is the Delta North, and we have very competent candidates all over the place. And they're all on the field and they're all working. And we've noticed one thing that is going on. Even see the way the Adamawa situation has just been sorted out, and, you know, with the new chairman in the PDP. And I think the way the president wants to go, it's almost like let people go to the field and sort this thing and let the best candidate come out and win. So even if candidates are being thrown up left, right, and center, it is for an open contest. So everybody should go to the field, you know, get their arsenal together, and I guess the best man will win.
I'm just curious,
you know?
are you one of the candidates?
No, I'm certainly not. My task is simple, seriously, and that is to make sure this governor finishes strong, make sure this governor leaves a legacy. And I've said to him, boss, do you know that part of your success is in making sure whoever your successor is able to outdo you, not be on the same tempo with you. No. If you did what you did between 2007 till now, if somebody is coming in 2014, we expect that person to do maybe double what you did, to have a better vision, to go at a better pace, you know, because you have set the template for the rapid industrialization of Delta. So the prayer is that that successor will come and he'll be able to take it to the next level.
Just quickly before we go on Ebola, you know, the resumption date has been brought forward.
Yes, for children.
Except for September 22. Yes. What measures are you putting in place in Delta?
Well, the same old measures everywhere. We'll get to the schools. We'll make sure. I think there's already some education going on with both the private and the public schools with our health officials who, like I said to you, are on top of it. Of course, with children, it might be a little bit more difficult because, you know, children, the way they play and all that. But they will be told. Even parents are also coming in. Because, like I said, this is an unusual challenge. So we are dealing with it, you know, in very unusual ways. I mean, we know in Nigeria, a lot of our children are subject to a lot of different levels of caregivers, drivers taking them to school, house helps, picking them up and all that. And if you ask me, rather than amongst the children, I think that is where the flashpoints are. So again, the parents are being told, these care helpers and drivers and all these people that take and bring your children back from school should also observe the highest level of hygiene.
We also hope that within the school premises too,
definitely
the highest level of hygiene would also be maintained by ensuring that at least there's water around most of the school premises.
In water, we have done absolutely marvelously well in Delta State, and you know, places that never had water, everywhere there's water in Delta.
Particularly in the schools?
Yes, in the schools, everywhere, because these are public works waters, not boreholes or anything. Massive, you know, public works waters that we've just commissioned.
Okay, so Jude neighbor, I think he's trying to call one of those numbers, but don't worry, Jude. He says when you try those numbers, you'll get a response. All right, thank you for coming on. Chike Ogeah is the Commissioner for Information in Delta State.